Say again? Me? Now we'd like to take a moment to thank some very special folks who helped make tonight possible. These are companies, individuals, and teams who raised more than $40,000 for Project Pink even before tonight's program. A special shout out goes to patron, partner, and pal sponsors who supported Pink Pint Night again this year. And our sincerest thanks and appreciation to the top 20 individual donors who gave so generously for this important cause. And finally, recognition to our top crowdfunding team, Annie's Fighters. A big thank you to Anne Marie, her family, and huge team of friends who together raised over $3,700 for Project Pink. Annie, know this: our very best wishes go to you in your fight against breast cancer. You've got a whole community that cares right behind you.
Hearing that video. Sounds good. They
Ooh, we've got a little bit less than 15 minutes left, and we're getting pretty excited. If y'all are watching already, thank you. We are just making sure that the microphone works, making sure everything works. So make sure if you have those virtual flight tasting kits, the host kits, get them ready, because we're getting ready to go here. Stick around. Let's try that one more time. We're going to make sure that the microphone works good, that it's loud enough that you can hear. Gonna talk a little bit more, getting ready for Pint night, virtual edition. I'm super excited. I hope you're super excited. Talky talk, 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 talk. How's that? Charlotte Radiology's Pink Pint Night has been a long-standing tradition, a community gathering to raise awareness, raise money, and raise a glass. Always the last Thursday in September, on the eve of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's a night for breast cancer fighters and survivors, friends and supporters, to champion a shared cause, helping local uninsured women access free mammograms. In typical years, it's a party with a purpose, a packed house with a lively crowd. But as we all know, 2020 is not a typical year. And as community members, we must all do our part to keep each other safe and healthy in these times. So we've gathered together virtually, united through good, to uphold the amazing tradition of Pink Pint Night. Now, let's all get ready to fight from home. Oh my gosh, does that not just make you so excited for tonight? Man, thank you guys for being here. I love that intro. That was awesome. That just gave me goosebumps. My name is Kristen Hampton. If you have never looked at my Facebook page before, I have a Facebook page, Kristen Hampton Good News. And I make fun videos, silly videos, and I try to encourage people to be nice. So I hope that's something that you're into. And what we're doing here tonight is so nice. It's one of my favorite causes. And something I'm super, super passionate about, Project Pink. That's why we're here. We're raising money for Project Pink. So before I say anything else, I'm going to say this a million times. You're probably going to get tired of hearing it. Fightwithapint.com. That's where you can go right now to make your donation. We've already raised $44,000 that goes straight to Project Pink. But we're hoping, the big difference here, we're hoping to get to $75,000. So you get on there, fightwithapint.com, make your donation. 100% of that will go to Project Pink, and it's tax deductible. So, you get benefits both worlds. Corn Dog Social is another thing we've got coming up here tonight. They're a band. They've got a really special connection. They actually work for several of the guys work for Charlotte Radiology. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we're also going to do, if you guys were part of this, a lot of people got host kits. You got a fancy bag. We're going to do this whole thing from home. And you got these flight glasses. And if you chose to participate, you got 4 different beers, including, hold on, I want this to be loud. This is Gosa Pink or Go Home. If you'll stick around later in the show, that was made just for Pink Pint Night, by the way, by Noda Brewing. And if you'll stick around later in the show, we're going to hear from Chad Henderson. He is the head brewer at Noda, and he is going to walk us through, do a flight tasting with us. But let's hear a little bit from him right now.
For those of you participating in the Noda tasting, make sure to stick around to enjoy them with me. I made them, so I'd love to tell you about them, including this special one, Goza Pink or Go Home, a beer we've never released before and we made just for this event. Stay tuned.
Okay, let's get started with everything. Before we get going, I want to explain exactly what Pink Pint Night is. I've been going for a really long time. We were trying to figure the other day, at least 4 or 5 years. Normally, of course, obviously it is live at Noda Brewing, but tonight we've got to do it virtually because that is the safe way to do it. So let's hear a little bit about what Pink Pint Night is from Dr. Sobel and Dr. Daniil. They're from Charlotte Radiology's Breast Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Sobel,
I'm Dr. Laura Daniil,
and I'd like to welcome you to the 9th annual
but first ever virtual Pink Pint Night.
This much-loved community event is presented by Charlotte Radiology in conjunction with Atrium Health Foundation, Living Cancer Institute, and of course our friends at Noda Brewery.
The Pink Pint Night fundraiser helps raise money for Levine Cancer Institute, Project Pink, and Project Pink Plus. These are programs that provide essential screening and diagnostic mammograms free of charge to local uninsured women.
The need for funding this year is even more critical as many state and local health resources for essential screening programs have been shifted and reprioritized to the COVID-19 response.
It also comes at a time of economic uncertainty, for families may have lost jobs and healthcare coverage in recent months. LCI Project Pink serves the same at-risk population, disproportionately and devastatingly impacted by coronavirus, putting these populations at even greater risk during an already difficult time.
Charlotte Radiology remains committed to providing essential imaging care for women. With your participation in our Pink Pint Night event, our goal is to crowdfund over $75,000 with 100% of the proceeds going directly to LCI Project Pink. This will help over 500 women in our community receive free screening mammograms in the coming year.
We can do this together. Tonight's live streamed program gives us the opportunity to connect with an even broader Charlotte community while ensuring the safety and health of all participants, and especially the frontline healthcare workers, breast cancer survivors and fighters, employees, friends, and family who traditionally join us at Noah Brewery every year.
Thank you for joining us tonight as we fight from home and raise money for LCI Project Pink and our communities in need.
We hope you enjoy tonight's program and find it meaningful, and we deeply appreciate your support.
The Pink Pint Night. Pink Pint Night.
The Pink Pint Night fundraiser. Wait, hold on. That's like a
It's hard.
Pint Night. Okay.
Dr. Sobel was
I'm telling you, I'm going to mess that up at some point tonight. Pink Pint Night, Project Pink, and fightwithapint.com. That's a lot of different words to remember, but that's all right. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about, obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that has put a big damper on the number of women that have gone to get mammograms. It's also hurt a lot of women who were already struggling to try and get their mammograms paid for. So that's why we're making this extra push to get to $75,000 tonight. That's going to give so many uninsured women mammograms, and that is going to save their lives, because this stuff doesn't stop just for a pandemic. I'll let you guys hear a little bit about exactly what Project Pink is. And we're going to hear from Amy Voci, Dr. Amy Voci. She's with Atrium Health Levine Cancer Institute.
Welcome to Pink Pint Night 2020 Virtual Edition. I'm Dr. Amy Voci, breast surgical oncologist at Atrium Health Levine Cancer Institute. I am privileged enough to be able to treat patients diagnosed with breast cancer, some of which we are now able to call survivors, thanks to your generosity for the program I'm going to share with you today. Project Pink was founded by Levine Cancer Institute in 2011 with the mission to provide free breast cancer screening for patients who are uninsured in our local community. It is well established that breast cancer screening and early detection saves lives. Project Pink partnered with Charlotte Radiology. We are now able to provide a mobile mammography unit with the most up-to-date technology, including 3D imagery of our breast. With this new technology and the mobile mammography, we are now screening 15 days on an annual basis, which has provided over 1,000 mammograms for women in our community. It is well established in the medical community also to get your mammogram every single year starting age 40, because this will help lead to early detection. Early detection then leads to early treatment, which then improves overall survival. And if breast cancer is diagnosed at a stage 0 or stage 1, the outcomes are nearly 100%. This program, through Charlotte Radiology and Project Pink, has now been able to diagnose over 70 women in our local community, which then provided them the ability to move forward with treatment. And this really translates to 2 patients every single month of diagnosis in our community. These women are real women. They are women of Charlotte, women of the Mecklenburg and surrounding communities. These are our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, our neighbors, and our friends. I'm very fortunate enough to be able to share with you one of our very own patients whose life was directly impacted by this program. It has been a year of uncertainty, but one thing is for certain, and that's early detection saves lives. Let's make early detection more accessible for women in our community. Thank you for participating and for your continued support and generosity for this very vital program. Cheers.
Hello, my name is Michelle and I'm a Project Pink patient. The first cousin, she found out that she had breast cancer at age 36. And at the time, when she found out, she wasn't aware of what breast cancer was or what to do, where to go. And she got so sick to where she needed to be hospitalized. And when they did the biopsy, she was already at a stage 3. And she lived like maybe a year maybe a year later, and she passed away. So that's why I'm so passionate about getting your yearly physical. That's important to me, because I explained to Project Pink when I called that I didn't have the insurance to cover my appointment, and she actually had told me if I come into the office what the cost would be, and I explained to her that I didn't have insurance to cover it, and she was very understanding, and she was like, well, we're going to place you on this list to be called, and it's a mobile, and we will let you know where it's set up and the time you need to be there, and to pretty much take care of everything. So that right there, I was very excited. I was just happy because I was like, oh, I could get it done. Don't skip a year not having your exam done. Yeah, I think that's what most people might be afraid that, oh, I don't have insurance. But just explain yourself over the phone and just tell them, I don't have insurance, my insurance expired, or my job expired. Can you help me to get this exam, or tell me what steps I need to take to do my exam. The mobile Pink, Dan, is actually just like if you were to go into an office. It's the same exact setup. It's very spacious, and everything is set up just like you were in an office. You answer the questions, and you go in and you change and go in and get your exam. That's something I don't miss. Got it on my calendar when I need to go, when I need to schedule my appointment, yes. And I started doing my exams at age 40. So I make that a priority to get that done every year. I don't want to miss that appointment at all. Because I want to live, I want to live until I can't live no more.
Man, that's great. I love to hear that. Michelle did a fantastic job telling that story. And I want to talk for just a second, a little bit about my personal reason for being here. Project Pink, why it is so important to me. A friend of mine was just like Michelle. She had circumstances where she couldn't get a mammogram because she couldn't afford it. So we hooked her up with Project Pink, and she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. Her name is Gail. Again, I firmly believe that Gail might not be here if she wouldn't have found Project Pink, if they didn't take her through the process, help pay for that mammogram to diagnose that breast cancer, because stage 2 would have turned into stage 3 and so on and so forth. So Project Pink, I believe, saved Gail's life. And that is why we're here. That's why I'm begging you, fightwithapint.com. If I didn't say it 50 times before, I'm going to say it 50 times again. Fightwithapint.com. Don't forget that 100% of your donations are going to go straight to Project Pink, and they are tax deductible. So that means if you feel like giving $100,000 or $1 million or whatever, that's tax deductible. So you get a nice break coming up at the end of the year. So just go ahead and throw all that money there, fightwithapint.com. And believe it or not, we're already towards the middle of our show here, in the middle, specifically speaking. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and hear from Corn Dog Social with their song, In the Middle.
Pink Pint Night 9.0. Thanks for joining us at home. We are Corn Dog Social. This is Rich Riedbach on lead vocals. We've got Mike Manning on bass guitar, Mike Vericchio on drums, Matt Mead on guitar, and myself, I'm Mike Muse. You recognize me from the hospital. 1, 2,
3, 4. Off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out, looked down on. Try your best, try everything you can. Don't you worry what they tell themselves when you're tell themselves when you're away. It just takes some time, little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. It just takes some time, little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright. Woo! Don't write yourself up yet. It's only in your head you feel left out, look down on. Just try your best in everything you can. And don't you worry what the bitter heart is gonna say. Come on. It just takes some time, little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright, alright. It just takes some time, little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Yeah!
Things may look a little different for Pink Pint Night this year, going virtual and all, but the tasting is coming up and it's going to be definitely worth the wait. So stick around and join me, Chad Henderson, head brewer at Noda Brewing Company. I made these things and I'd love to tell you about them. So stay tuned.
So we're getting there. We're getting pretty close to that flight tasting. If that's one of the things that you chose to do, but the main reason we're here again is to raise that money. And I just got word the donations are absolutely rolling in. So thank you guys so much for that. We really appreciate it. Hoping to get to $75,000 tonight. That'll go straight to Project Pink. That's going to provide mammograms for a lot of women. That is definitely going to save lives. And I love to talk about it. I'm very, very passionate about it because a lot of times I don't think people maybe consider outside of their world and their bubble. I go get my mammogram, pays for it. My wife goes and gets her mammogram, insurance pays for it. A lot of people don't have insurance, so they just don't get mammograms. They don't have a couple of $100 to get mammograms. So what happens sometimes is those women end up in the emergency room. This happens. They end up in the emergency room with stage 4 breast cancer. And that's not a good outcome. That's not a good place that you want to be. So if we can get mammograms for those women, it bugs me. And this is why I get so nuts about it. And sometimes I'll start yelling about it. It bugs me that a couple of $100 can stand between a woman living and a woman dying. That's just not right. I don't like it. So that's why I'm here tonight. That's why I'm yelling at you. That's why I keep saying fightwithapint.com. I also did just hear no one has donated $1 million yet, but the first person to do that, I will say your name right here. I'll probably come to your house. We can't hug and you have to wear a mask. But if you give $1 million, that's going to be awesome. But give what you can. It doesn't have to be that. Give $5, $10, $25. Anything helps to get to the goal of $75,000. And while I've got your attention, I want to go ahead and talk to everybody about just getting mammograms in general, because that's another thing I'm super passionate about. Everybody's probably heard the statistic, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. 1 in 6 of those women will be in their 40s. So don't think, oh, well, I probably won't get it yet, because women are diagnosed with breast cancer in their 40s, sometimes in their 30s. And 3 out of 4 of those women don't have any family history. So if you're thinking, I'm too young, I don't have any family history, anything else is keeping you from getting a mammogram after you're 40 years old, please go get one, make your appointment. And if you're younger than 40 and you do have a family history, talk to your doctor about when you should start getting your mammogram. So there, I've got that out of the way. Once again, fightwithapint.com. A lot of this stuff tonight, we can't do any of these things without your support. So thanks again for bringing in the donations. They're coming in right now. There are a lot of different ways, though, you can help. You don't have to just donate. We've also got an auction that is live right now. You can go to text Pink Pint, PINK, just one word, to 72727. Say it again. 72727 is on your screen there too. Text Pink Pint 72727. You can register and bid on some pretty cool stuff. We've got a big green egg, a Merida rug, a Childress winery experience, and you can get some passes, bid on some passes for the U.S. National Whitewater Center right here in Charlotte. You can also bid on some Botox, and you can get free beer for a year from No to Brewing. There's a lot of other stuff, so definitely go check that out. That's on QTGO. And that's going to stay open all the way through Saturday at 2 p.m. So go ahead and make your bids. 100% of everything raised on that auction site is going to go to Project Pink. Now we'd like to take a moment to thank some very special folks who helped make tonight possible. These are companies, individuals, and teams who raised more than $40,000 for Project Pink even before tonight's program. A special shout out goes to patron, partner, and pal sponsors who supported Pink Pint Night again this year. And our sincerest thanks and appreciation to the top 20 individual donors who gave so generously for this important cause. And finally, recognition to our top crowdfunding team, Annie's Fighters. A big thank you to Anne Marie, her family, and a huge team of friends who together raised over $3,700 for Project Pink. Annie, know this, our very best wishes go to you in your fight against breast cancer. You've got a whole community that cares right behind you. And for all of our supporters, please know you are truly our heroes. And once again, here's Corn Dog.
Pink Pint Night. Thanks for having us, everybody at home watching us. This goes out to all the heroes in our lives. Everybody has one. I have mine. You have yours. Let's sing this for them. Let's go. Take those pictures down and shake them out. It's true, no consequence. Say it aloud. Use as evidence. Race it around. Yeah! There goes my hero. Watch her as she goes. There goes my hero, she's ordinary. You're the best of them, figure it out. While the rest of them figure it out. True or consequence, say it aloud. Use as evidence, race it around. Come on! There goes my hero. Watch her as she goes. There goes my hero. She's ordinary. We're so happy to be here. Pink Pint Night 9.0. Everybody at home, you're all our heroes. Thank you so much. We're Corn Dog Social. Who knows my hero? Sleeping all the best. Who knows my hero? One that's old. There goes my hero. Watch her as she goes. There goes my hero. He's ordinary. Thank you.
And that is almost like, I'm trying to check here and make sure that I unmuted my mic because we're on a Zoom call. So far, I've had no problems with that. That makes me miss live music so much because that's like almost being at a live show. And I know everybody misses that. I know everybody misses being together. And we certainly are going to be together next year, hopefully. But thank you again for joining us for this virtual edition. We are not done just yet. We're getting to the part that a lot of people are pretty excited about. And I sure enough did just straight up bring my cooler to the couch because I don't feel like getting up and walking to the fridge. This is, don't forget the Ghost of Pink or Go Home. That is made by Noda Brewing, just special for this event. It's an exclusive beer. And we've got 3 others here. And if you want to know all about them, Chad is going to walk us through a flight tasting right now.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining me on this virtual taste along. My name's Chad Henderson. I'm the head brewer and co-owner here at Noda Brewing Company. We've been open since 2011 and every year we've been very proud to partner up with Charlotte Radiology for Pink Pint Night. This is a great event that we make a special beer in order to produce funds to go to the Project Pink. And every year we make a beer that's different in rotation. So this is the first time we've ever released this beer. This beer is called Goes a Pink or Go Home. Now, portions of proceeds of this are going to go to Project Pink. And as long as you can buy it on draft or in the can, part of those proceeds will be going to help this great cause out. Now, every year the beer is kind of themed around the pink concept. And so or they sometimes will have a funny pun and things of that nature in them. So we're going to go on and start tasting this awesome beer. This is a Goza. Some people pronounce it Goze or Goza. It's a German word. You're going to be fine as long as you kind of get it close. This is basically a kettle-soured light wheat beer that typically has a fair amount of salt in it. So this beer, to stick with the theme, I used pink Himalayan salt, and I also used raspberries to give it a really brilliant pink color and also a really awesome flavor that matches up well with the tartness. You have the tartness of the raspberries, you have the tartness of the kettle sour. Just to explain what the kettle sour is, because that's a unique term, basically we steep this beer for about 2 days while it's still in the kettle at a warmer temperature and allow for a bacteria that naturally occurs also in yogurt that gives yogurt's tart character to it, called lactobacillus, to slightly produce a lactic character to it. After that, we boil it up, treat it like a normal beer after the fact, and then I inject it with raspberries midway through fermentation so the raspberry character is not too jammy, but it also gives you a really nice flavor and color component at the same time. This beer is super light. It's 3.8% alcohol. Most Gozas you see on the market are usually under 4.5%. So it's really easy to drink. It doesn't heavily impede you, and it's really low on IBUs or bitterness. So if you're not a big hoppy fan, and if you're not someone that wants a really heavy beer, this is a really awesome beer for you, especially with the weather the way that it's been. So it's very refreshing. So I'm going to go ahead and crack it up, and or open, if you will. I don't know how you crack up a can, but as you can see, the foam's already a little pink. There's nice and pretty. So this beer is also gluten reduced. That doesn't mean that it's completely gluten free, but it does mean that there's a lower amount of gluten in it. So if you do have some gluten sensitivity, this one's a little bit safer for you to go to without having any sort of problems with it. As you can see, it's quite pink. It is a little cloudy. That's what Gozas are supposed to be. They are wheat beers, so about 50% of their malt bill is actually malted wheat. And it also makes the mouth feel really nice and light. So before we ever drink the beer, please smell it. There's a lot of work to go into the aroma, so it's really nice and fruity. It basically smells just like if you took a handful of raspberries and crushed them up in your hand and then smelled your hand after the fact. So it's really nice aroma to it. Delicious. Really nice and fruity, very light on the palate. Subtle tartness. This is not one of those, if you ever hear people talk about sour beers, this isn't a bash you in the back of the head sort of sourness. This is just really nice and crisp tartness. It matches the fruit really well, and there's a very slight brine from the Himalayan sea salt in it. Now, I started with this beer amongst the mixed 4-pack because it is the lightest one. It's the least impactful on the palate. So if you're going to do all 4 of these beer in a row, then you want to probably start with this one. You can drink them in any order that you want to. This is just kind of the order that I picked out for it. And I wanted to also start with it because it is the featured beer, obviously. And like I said before, we will have it on draft, and we are also distributing out in 4-packs to the market. So make sure you go out there and get it while it's still around. We did a fairly sizable batch of it this year, so we could put it out to market, but it is a limited availability. So I chose the 4 beers, one obviously before the event itself, but also these other ones are kind of like seasonal variations that have been coming out just recently, and also our newest year-round beer to throw it in there for the ones that like the hoppiness. So moving on to the next German-themed beer, that actually wasn't intentional, I didn't mean that at all, but we have a German sour, and now we have a German Oktoberfest, aptly named Oktoberfest, because for some reason it's the only style where no one needs to have name creativity. So this is my favorite seasonal that we do. It is a festive lager, so to speak. It's basically what they call a Marzen. A Marzen is traditionally a German lager that is brewed in the month of March to be lagered or conditioned over the summer and to be enjoyed in the fall. Oktoberfest Marzens are literally just those enjoyed during the Oktoberfest. And you see a pretty wide variation, especially in the US, because people kind of take a lot of creative liberties with it. I really like to make this beer as close to traditional as I can. I do a multi-step mash with it. I use all German grains, all German hops, and we use German Bach yeast to ferment it out. It's conditioned for over a month and a half in our tanks, and it is basically the epitome of really clean German breadiness. One of the best things about German lagers is that their lagering process is so clean on the finish that it allows for all their malt ingredients to really shine through. And Germans do a really great job of making really nice, clean, but yet very interesting and deep tasting grains. So this beer has Munich malt, Vienna malt, and Pilsner malt in it, and you taste every little bit of it. Give it the smell, which is nice and clean, like toasted bread. And I love that beer so much. It's just nice and rounded. It is not caramelly, but it is almost like a sweet, nutty, almost like a dried fruit sort of character in it too. So these beers shouldn't be overly caramelly sweet, but they do have a really nice bready sweetness to them, if you will. So you're supposed to be tasting the grain. The hops are there just to balance it. Again, this is not a beer that's going to really hit you hard with the hops. It's also not insanely high in alcohol. It's about 6.3% alcohol, so that fits in the higher range, of course, compared to the Goza, but it's still pretty easy to drink, in my opinion. Next up is one that I worked really hard on for over a year, developing this beer called Radio Haze. This is our hazy, juicy IPA, and it sits right around 6.4% alcohol. And as you can see, it pours like pineapple juice. This beer is brewed with a huge amount of hops in it. It is available year-round, like I said. It is actually very low on the hop bitterness. It's a lot more hop aroma and hop flavor. And basically this utilizes Citra hops, Mosaic hops, Centennials, and Chinook hops. So all those guys put together form this really awesome rush of aromas and flavors, and the oats and wheat that I used in the body of the mash bill give it this really nice and smooth mouthfeel to it. And again, not a whole lot of bitterness on it. It's a lot of hop flavor, not a lot of hop heat in the back end. So that's great. It is very much so like drinking like pineapple and mango juice together, but in an adult form. So I love this beer. It's only about 40 IBUs, but again, you really don't feel them nearly as much as you think that you would. So this and the Oktoberfest are roughly same alcohol amount, very different beers, as you can obviously see, and if you get to smell and taste them, they are very different as well. Last up is one of our most famous seasonals that we do. We actually won a gold medal for this in 2018 at the Great American Beer Festival, which is kind of like the Olympics of beer, so to speak. This is Gorgeous with a D in it, see, because it's a pun, ha ha ha. It's our pumpkin beer. Now this beer actually uses pumpkin in it, and it uses 0 cinnamon and nutmeg. So many people when they try it, they think that they get cinnamon and nutmeg out of it. That's just because the spices that I do use in it do still echo like a pumpkin pie and things of that nature, and therefore cinnamon and nutmeg are kind of related to that, but there is no cinnamon and nutmeg in this. And I actually did that on purpose because I was getting really tired of every pumpkin beer out there having just cinnamon and nutmeg plus XYZ on every single one of them. So this is my own custom spice blend using real pumpkin in the mash. We use brown sugar, ginger, cardamom seed, which gives it like a slight cola-y sort of character to it. And we also use allspice and cloves, and we actually hand crack all of those spices. It's very labor intensive. So let's go on and not spill it on the thing. Here we go. My mask is getting a nice little bit of it right there. So you got this really nice amber color to it. The great thing with this beer too is that the base beer itself, sans all the pumpkin and sans all the spices and things of that nature, is a really good, strong, robust, malty American red ale. So it sits right above 6% alcohol as well. So none of these beers are really heavy hitters and all, but this beer obviously is the most flavor impactful with like the spices and the maltiness and everything like that. So you can smell those spices right away. Allspice really jumps out, ginger jumps out, and like I said, the cardamom gives it just a little pop of almost like a cola character. Not a lot of people know intrinsically what cardamom tastes like, but when you drink it, you'll notice it's got this small cola note to it. Nice, very low hop present. The hops in there just to clear out the malty sweetness from it. So great tasting beer. We have this also, all three of these guys are out in the market right now. All four of these guys are out in the market right now. And that's definitely a good way to go in the order. So you have light and fruity, finishing with a much heavier malty forward and also much more dessert-esque sort of spicing on it. And if you are, again, interested in doing food pairings with these guys, they all have very unique food pairings as well. If you wanted to do any sort of like lighter salad that features fruit or any sort of berries or anything like that, this works really well with it. You can also use it in contrast with a dessert, and if you had something deep and rich and chocolatey, you wanted to contrast it with something tart and light and berry forward, then the Goza Pink would be perfect for that. If you're trying to do any sort of brats or typical German-esque sort of things, like any sort of potatoes and meat of really savory amounts, Oktoberfest just blends really well with it. It's one of those beers that's so balanced, it doesn't really do a contrast to anything. It just kind of really melds in and fills the gaps in what you're eating. With the Radio Haze, I would definitely recommend any sort of spicy food, any sort of like Thai food or anything that has like a lot of heat to it. Hoppy beers really hold up well, and since this beer also has kind of like a creamier character to the mouthfeel, it really helps kind of nullify the intense heat from really hot foods. And then with Gorgeous, if you want to pair it up with any dessert at all, the spices just add on to whatever sweetness you want to do with that dessert. It also works actually pretty well if you have like a heavily braised like pork rind or pork chop or something of that nature. So if you want anything that's like seasoned heavily with like rosemary or thyme or anything like that, and has a savory base on it, then that also works pretty well. So thank you guys very much for joining me. Please do that order or any order that you want, and I hope you have a great night. I know I will. Cheers.
Did y'all get through all that? Did everybody taste all their beer sodas? I like to call them beer sodas because it just makes me feel better about having a beer soda. It's a pretty good little drink there. It's not too shabby. Thank you very much. Noda Brewing, Ghost of Pink or go home. We have reached pretty much the end of our show tonight, but before we go, I want to take another minute to remind you, October is coming up. That's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You know, and I know there's so many things you can do, so many causes you can donate to, so many different things that help women, help fund mammograms, help go to research. Hopefully one day we can completely eradicate this awful disease. So if I haven't mentioned it before, I can't remember whether I said it or not, fightwithapint.com. That's where you can go now, and everything that you donate there, 100% of it will go directly to Project Pink. It's tax deductible. And let me ask, has anyone given $1 million yet? I'm asking the folks that are running the show here. Did anyone do the $1 million donation yet? No, not yet, but it's coming. I'm almost certain. But don't forget, $5, $10, whatever you have to donate, it will go to help save women's lives. It will go to fund their mammograms. They can find that disease earlier when it's more treatable. And don't forget again about yourself to get those mammograms, because a stage 1, there's no good cancer to get. There's no good breast cancer. So I don't want to make it sound like that, but a stage 1 is better than a stage 3 or a stage 4. The earlier, the better. Early detection saves lives. Please do not forget that. Make your appointment, go make your donation. And I cannot tell you, thank you enough for watching this virtual edition of Pink Pint Night. This is our first one, and I hope it will be our last one, because I hope next year we're going to be able to see you live and in person at Noda Brewing. I want to make sure that we thank Charlotte Radiology and Noda Brewery, Atrium Health Foundation, and Levine Cancer Institute on behalf of all those people. Thank you again so much for joining us. Don't forget, fightwithapint.com. And that's the end. Cheers, guys.